Over the many years of talking publicly about my mental health journey, I've gotten some of the same questions and comments over and over again. A lot of them are misconceptions, so I want to address them in this episode. First of all, how am I the expert on therapy? Well, I'm not a trained mental health professional, but I have been in therapy on and off since I was 14 years old. I'm 30 now, so that's more than 15 years. I've been to two psychologists in Bangalore, two psychologists in Atlanta, and one psychiatrist who's also a therapist in Bangalore after I moved back. Recently, I started with a sixth therapist to work on something very specific. I am a true therapy slut, and I am not ashamed of it. Before we get to the misconceptions, a few disclaimers. I acknowledge my privilege. I have a very supportive and open family, and there is no judgment or hesitation when it comes to getting help with mental health. Secondly, I acknowledge that I have the ability to pay for therapy, medication, and as many sessions as I've needed. And yes, I know that not everyone can afford therapy. Therapy being expensive is not a myth, but there are places that you can go for subsidized therapy. There are websites and crowd-funded lists of therapists in India, including their price ranges that you can check. You can see consultation fees on websites like Practo.com or Liberate.com. Some doctors or therapists are flexible with their fees. You just have to ask. They might also be open to referring you to someone more affordable. I've put a bunch of resources in the episode description, so you can go and check that. Now, having said all of this episode is specifically targeted at those who can afford therapy, but are either being judgmental or are being held back by misconceptions and stigma. So let's get to it. Misconception number 1. Only crazy people go to therapy. I hate to break it to you, but no human being is perfect. I know, right? Shocking. I feel like we all talk so much about how being imperfect is what makes us human, which means that every human being has things that they can work on. A lot of people find ways to do it on their own if they have the right resources, but a lot more people don't. A lot of people are knowingly or unknowingly stuck in patterns of behavior, either with work or with relationships or with themselves. For example, you could have trouble standing up to authority figures like parents or teachers or bosses. Maybe you know that about yourself, but you don't know how to change it. Or you've spent so long justifying that the way that you do things is okay, even though you secretly wish that maybe you could be the kind of person who says no without feeling guilty. Therapy can help you. Maybe, like me, you had a toxic relationship 10 years ago and you thought it was behind you, but actually it's affected your ability to trust romantic partners ever since then. Therapy can help you. It's helping me. Something even as simple as feeling lazy for weeks at a time can actually be a symptom of a larger issue, which can be diagnosed by a mental health professional. Also, therapists go to therapy. There is no minimum requirement to go to therapy. You don't have to be on the edge of suicide or having hallucinations to see a therapist. I know that's how the popular media seems to talk about it, but literally every human being can do better. It's like getting a fitness trainer, right? You could do it on your own. You could try every diet and workout and eventually figure out what works for you. Or you could admit that everything you've tried so far hasn't worked. So maybe it's time to pay a specialist who can help you figure out what you're doing wrong, help you fix it, and help you get to your goal. See, you don't have to be a professional athlete to get a trainer or a fitness coach, right? The same way you don't have to be like at some breaking point to go see a therapist. Misconception number 2. Why should I pay someone just to listen to me when I can talk to my friends for free? Okay, venting to your friends is absolutely a way to feel better. There's no doubt about it. Maybe your friends are great at listening and they always make you feel good. But venting and therapy are different things. Like, yeah, you can go for a walk with your friend or you can play a game of basketball, but that is not a replacement for a coach or a trainer who gives you a nutrition plan, helps you set goals, and holds you accountable to reaching your goals. Trainers and therapists are always going to be different from your friends for many reasons. Firstly, they've spent years getting good at what they do and then spent even more time getting good at helping and training others. See, being good at something is not the same as being good at teaching it. Your friend may be great at life, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be great at helping you improve your life. They don't truly understand what it's like to be in your shoes. And they're not always equipped to give you tools and techniques which are tailor made for you. Also, please remember that friends have their own lives and it's kind of not their responsibility to fix you. But it's a therapist's job to work with you on getting better. And I mean, if you're the kind of person who's constantly unloading on your friends and you keep expecting them to be there for you, it can become burdensome for them. Friendship has to go both ways. You have to give as much as you get. But with a professional, it's literally their job to focus only on you. Also, secondly, therapy is not just a venting session. It's a comprehensive treatment plan that allows you to identify patterns in your behavior and correct them. A therapist can give you healthy outlets for your emotions. They hear and understand what you say and they work with you to detangle your thoughts and emotions. It's way more systematic than your friend saying, "Yeah, bro, that sucks." Misconception number 3: how will a stranger know what's best for me? Talking to a stranger instead of a friend actually has a lot more benefits than drawbacks. Firstly, your friends all have their own value systems, their own biases and expectations based on their life experiences. Their value systems may not perfectly align with yours, but they might try to force fit your experience to match their outlook and all that chaos. Yes, therapists are people too, but they're also neutral third parties. They don't gain or lose anything by working on you and working with you. They're not going to force their personal opinions on you. They are just there to do their jobs. Secondly, you don't have to worry about them gossiping behind your back because your sessions are confidential. It's a safe space for you to talk about the things that you can't talk about anywhere else. Especially if you're the type of person who has spent your whole life supporting others and putting on a brave face. Therapy can be a great place for you to unburden yourself. And let's face it, things can get ugly with friends. You might open up to them and then end up having a huge fight, and then later you bump into them at a wedding or a birthday party. But you don't have to worry about that with a therapist. You can tell them everything without being judged or worrying about having some big fallout. Even if you do bump into them in public, no one has to know anything. I've had therapists deliberately ignore me when we crossed paths unexpectedly. They did that to protect my privacy and to respect it, so that I didn't have to explain to anyone else how I knew them. Misconception number 4: they'll force me to take medication and I don't want to get addicted to pills. First of all, addiction itself is a mental illness, and if you have issues with addiction, you will absolutely benefit from therapy. Also, I need 2 cups of coffee a day is also a dependency on caffeine, so let's not be so quick to judge. Secondly, only a psychiatrist can give you medication because they have studied medicine and then they specialize in psychiatry. A psychologist, therapist, counselor, etc. cannot prescribe medication. If they feel it's necessary, they can refer you to a psychiatrist for meds. Now, let's say you go to a psychiatrist first directly without going to a psychologist or getting a referral. The psychiatrist will decide if you need medication or not. They are not going to force you to take pills. If they recommend medication, ideally they should explain why and for how long you'll need those meds. And if you really want to, you can tell them that you would like to try therapy without medication. See, I can't say what other doctors do, but this is what my doctor told me, okay? When I first went and I got diagnosed, he said that I would need medication as a stabilizer as I went through therapy. And then once I learned some tools and techniques to manage my disorders on my own, he would slowly reduce the dosage until I was not on medication anymore. From day one, the plan was always to get off medication in a systematic way. I've also had several friends go to my doctor and he has decided that they don't need medication or even a psychiatrist, and then he's referred them to a therapist or a counselor. If it turns out that you do need lifelong medication, that is also not an addiction. It's like taking insulin for diabetes. It just helps you supplement some chemicals in your body which your body can't produce on its own. Misconception number 5: I went to therapy once and it didn't work. Buddy, that's like saying you went to the gym once and you didn't get fit. Getting fit takes a lot of trial and error, no? Therapy is the same way. Haven't we all been to doctors, teachers, workshop sessions where we didn't like the instructor or we felt that the session wasn't the right thing for us? So we just give up altogether, is it? No, you just look for a different teacher or a different workshop or a different doctor to continue working on whatever it is you need to work on. It's the same thing with therapy. So if you have the means and the resources and you are focused on getting better, please try again. And you have to stick with it to see results. Because honestly, having said all of this, no amount of therapy can help you if you don't do these two things, okay? One, admit to yourself that there is something you need to improve on. Two, do the work consistently. The same way a fitness trainer can't burn calories for you, a therapist can't work miracles. They'll give you support and resources, but at the end of the day, it's on you to do the homework. It's on you to go back to the next session and to practice what you learn in the sessions in your day to day life. It's not always going to be easy, but isn't it better than not even trying? In conclusion, having gone through this journey, I just want to say that I personally think that it's the least crazy people who go to therapy if they can afford it. Because it takes self awareness to admit that you are flawed and that things could be better. It takes guts to open up that black box into which you've shoved all your bad feelings. It takes resilience to go back week after week, knowing it'll hurt for a little while before it gets better. You know, when they say no pain, no gain, it's not only about building muscles. Your brain is a part of your body also. And we can work on it to make it better, sharper, stronger, smarter. This sounds like a Horlicks ad, sorry. If you would like to get started with therapy, I've put a bunch of resources in the episode description, including my doctor's name and his website link. If you need to explain to someone why you want to go to therapy or why you do go to therapy, I hope this episode helps you. If you think I'm crazy, I cannot change your mind, but I'm going to keep working on myself, which is the most important thing for me. If you're someone who's had the same journey as I have, I hope this episode makes you feel less alone. I'm proud of you for everything that you've overcome. I know it wasn't easy. If you have questions for me, you can DM me on Instagram at Take It Easy Policy. I shall end this episode with my favorite song from the movie The Greatest Showman. I can't sing to save my life, so I'm going to spare you and recite the lyrics like a poem. I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, because we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say. No one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm going to send a flood, going to drown them out. I am brave. I am bruised. I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Music and mastering by Semitonic Productions. Until next time, over and out.